Everybody, welcome back. We're doing another Marvel Future Revolution video. We've got the 1-year anniversary coming up in just over a month. So the speculation is that there's going to be some big things coming for it. I mean, why not? They've done a bunch of different things for 300-day anniversaries. So I'm expecting something for that as well. So we're going to talk about that. What can we see? And let me know what your comments are below. Let me know what you're thinking about, what you hope for, what you think is definitely going to happen. All that sort of thing. We're going to get a new zone, new toon. We're going to be able to transmute to Scarlet Witch. Who knows? So if you're new to the channel, check out Discord, link below. Want to hammer down like buttons, all that sort of thing. You know the drill. All right, let's check it out.
Bring me WolverThor!
One thing I want to remind you of is how our current story ended. So if you don't recall, or if you forget, this is the way that the story ended with, I think it was Dr. Connors going into some sort of area where they stopped hearing from him. And in the camera here shows some beasts that'll pop up, spoiler, if you haven't gone this far. And this is sort of going to tie into what I'm going to talk about here. All right, so they come base, they attack the camera. Oh my golly, that just says like face recognition. Essentially, I paused the frame, played it super slow, all that sort of thing. Again, I'll pause it right here as these guys stop. What this reminds me of specifically is the Savage Lands created by Magneto in the Marvel Comics. So because of that, because we've got gear in the game for Savage Shadowlands. What is Savage Shadowlands? We're going to talk about that a little bit. So don't forget about this first and foremost, okay? This is the main thing that I want to kind of dive into that's going to kind of steer this conversation. Like I said, I'm going to have this right here. We're going to dive into that in a minute, just to kind of give us an idea of the different things that we might be able to get from something like Savage Lands. So before we get into that, what can we expect from the 1-year anniversary? First and foremost, let's talk about a level cap increase. Because if we're going to get a new land, which I'm clearly sort of speculating to over to the side here, that's going to come with a level cap increase. I would expect 5 to 10 levels with that, depending on how big the content is. It is a year in. I'm not going to be mad if it's 10 levels and it actually takes us a number of days to get through it. Gosh, I mean, even a week, I'm not mad about it. It's like, that's for me personally, that's one of the things I love is this story mode, is going through things, leveling the characters, seeing the story, seeing what's developing. And then we get to the run on the treadmill that is the end game. So I don't like to necessarily just sprint to that. I like to look out the car windows, etc. I think that we could potentially get that. Again, we have a month for it. It's been a little while since we had that increase. I could see them holding off a little bit longer for something like that. But my hope is that they actually drop something like this. So, we've got Savage Shadowlands gear in game. It doesn't, I was looking around a little bit and I'm like, Savage Shadowlands, like, I know Savage Lands, I know Shadowlands, but Savage Shadowlands. We've got the convergence things going in game, but that just was sort of a thing that I didn't really think about all that heavily before, looking for what I'm going to be talking about above in a second. So if we get a new land, is it going to be some sort of convergence of this Savage Lands and maybe the Shadowlands? Like, are we going to get a bunch of ninjas riding dinosaurs? Something along those lines. If you're not familiar with either sets of the lore, I also have the Shadowlands up here. It's the long and short of it is there's some city heroes, Daredevil's at the center of it. The only characters we haven't seen in this game that are associated with that, I believe, is White Tiger. There's certainly a lot of other main characters over here with Black Tarantula, Beast, Bullseye, Luke Cage, Elektra, Ghost Rider. We've got the hands at the front of it, Iron Fist, Jonah Jameson, Kingpin, Lady Bullseye, a whole bunch of different ninja type stuff. You got Wolverine in there, who could also sync in with this Savage Lands as well. But we're actually talking about two different things here. We're talking about the Savage Lands and Shadowlands. So Savage Shadowlands, again, what are we going to get? I think maybe we could get some sort of convergence of the area, or maybe two different ones or something similar to each, or one leading into the other. We'll see. So because of this, does that mean we're getting a new character? Well, if we get a new character, does that mean Scarlet Witch can be transmuted from and to? I do think it's time for her to be able to be transmuted to. I think she's been in the game long enough. I think that people have a lot of upper time to test her, and I think it's time to let people transmute things to her if they want to play her. She's a very good character. I think she's one of the top end characters if you really get to learn her. She really does create chaos on the battlefield, which I think is fantastic, and she can do a lot of damage. So big fan of that. Now, if we're going to go into new characters from the Savage Land storyline, there's really, three main ones. Well, really two. But Khazar, who's, for all intents and purposes, if you're familiar with the Tarzan type storyline, very similar type character, but in the Savage Land. So he's got, you can see these pictures again. I'm not going to go through his full story here, but you get the idea of seeing pictures of him, of what he's particularly like here, and all the different, media he's sort of shown up in, or the different sort of comics, or sometimes they drop in different cartoons, or you can see here like which cartoons they show up in, but he's very Tarzan-esque. So you would expect him to be, strong, agile, that sort. Maybe he can summon dinosaurs. The other thing, or summon some sort of monsters. He does have basically the last saber-toothed tiger is sort of his companion. Maybe that's something that, he can have. And what would be cool is when he sprints, he jumps on Zabu here and runs faster, which frankly, give one of those things to Widow, please. So, I don't think this guy's going to be a character, but he could play into the character if they put in Khazar. And then they have Shanna, who is sort of the female version of that, in the jungle, agile. You can see her a lot with like leopard print, not much on, but sort of that jungle-esque vibe. She's shown up in other games as well. So those are some of the main Savage, or at least residents of the Savage Land. There's a bunch of different species in here that you can see. They certainly could, pull different things from these. I would expect most of these to be maybe the folks that you would fight in here. One that we want to throw out there, sort of looking like the Saurians, Karl Lycos, or Sauron. Big part of the Savage Land storyline for sure. I know if you watch those X-Men cartoons, you'll remember him. But there is all sorts of different things in here that you could definitely sort of expand upon in a new zone for something like this, where, you have the Shadow King involved. There's, like I said, mutants involved with Magneto. Scarlet Witch had some interaction in here. Tyrax. Companion, all sorts of things that can be expansive in this. And then in the Shadowlands, again, this is quite a bit different. So that's where the part is like, I don't know how they're going to converge these, or maybe it has nothing to do with that as far as the actual gear goes. It could be just, we're going to get the Savage Lands in game. But if for some reason they do converge it, there's going to be something where we've got the city/ninja side of things. And again, even this here, you've got Punisher, Spider-Man, Moon Knight, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Daredevil, all these different sort of characters in there. White Tiger, another one that, some people might or might not be familiar with from comics, but you really get the expansion of this inner city street fighting sort of ninja-esque community, if you will. So I'm going to be interested to see if they drop in this. If they do this, the type of characters I think they could drop is, maybe it could be a White Tiger. I would say Moon Knight, but we've already got him, and I don't know if they're necessarily going to do that. Daredevil is a key character in the game, is a companion, but I don't necessarily think they're going to do that as a new character. So I find it very interesting that they could expand on some of this. I like the concept behind it. I think it could be very cool. The plot, I'm not going to read through the plot here. You can see that it's quite extensive. You see things from the Thunderbolts, Juggernaut, Songbird, Moonstone, Mr. Negative, Bullseye, Ghost Rider, I mentioned. Elektra, it's, Wolverine again, I mentioned. So I would really like to see something from both of these. And, in Black Widow's original storyline into the game, she was in the Shadowlands. So I don't know. We'll see how this sort of all kind of plays together, if they even for sure do that. But I could see a new character coming to the game. I think you're likely to get more something along these lines, but man, you know, the more I think about it, it's kind of like Netmarble really wants to put in a character that people are going to be excited about. And I can't say that like, you know, Khazar or somebody like that is going to get anybody excited about playing him. For me personally, you know, the next person that I can think of is, you know, somebody like Blade. You know, Blade gets me excited to play. Wolverine gets me excited to play. You know, but like I mentioned Wolverine a couple times on both sides. If Wolverine comes in the game, I don't know. Well, yeah, I just don't even know. I mean, I don't know how he's going to be different than some other characters, and he's just mainly a slasher. So, you know, but maybe he just is really hard to kill and his HP recovery is through the roof, which would be interesting, wouldn't it? All of a sudden HP recovery matters for at least him in specific. And the more and more you get, if you cap that out, he's just, you know, constantly healing. That'd be amazing. So, okay, so from there, I talked about the new toon. Could we get to see a new set? I mean, you're obviously going to get a new set of regional gear along with that. I'm not going to speculate with that. That's just sort of becomes obvious. Even with the Savage Shadowlands gear in game, if they did lean into combining these areas, I hope they wouldn't keep that one, as maybe they create a new one, because that one is sort of an afterthought at this point, or maybe they give it a bit of a tweak or a rework. I wouldn't be mad about that. I don't know many people who really have cared or built that, and I think that if they did tweak it and make it a little bit better, that I think most people would be pretty happy about it. Now, one of the things that I also have thought about is a new special set of gear. I would like to see something like that. I think that it could be pretty cool to see. I don't know why they wouldn't do something along those lines. I think that, you know, at some point you do need to keep adding gear to the game, but I don't want it to be like necessarily a tier above something else. I'd love to see it as something that expands and adds to the different characters. And it's like, oh, you know what? Now maybe a guard break build on Widow is more plausible if you get this set of gear. I don't know. And maybe whatever new regional gear they have, it ties in with, you know, if you say a guard break build for Widow, both the regional and the new special gear could play into that. So we'll see. Now, one thing that you know, we're for sure going to get is new companions. We're going to get a bunch of them. They come out about every 2 weeks. Just something that I'm used to. I have not even unlocked Kate Bishop or Loki, or obviously not even Jane Foster yet, because it's just too hard. So I don't love that idea. I wish the most they do is once a month, and, you know, or give us a way to not just buy them, but, you know, or maybe as a month goes by or 2 months goes by, it's easier to get them to 4 and 5 stars. I don't know. Because it's hard to keep up with some of that stuff, frankly, in game if you don't just spend a bunch of money. So expect a bunch of companions. I read through a lot of the characters that I would expect to see. And probably the most important thing that I would want to talk about with a lot of this stuff is the good offers. So in game, you know, I go through offer reviews every couple weeks, depending when they get either a new patch or sometimes when they bring in the second companion per month. I'll go in and re-review the offers. I'm a pretty big stickler on what you should spend in this game. I'm personally, I'll show you guys where I'm at. I've got about 19,000 crystals. I've got, you know, a decent number of draw tickets, not a lot, but a decent number. I used a ton of my costume draws recently for getting a bunch of nano and going for gear sets that I liked. So I'm saving those back up again. I'm hoping to use the dimension box tickets in something maybe for a Thanos special invasion, or a special invasion that really touches my heart. I like and find interesting the gore ones, but I'm not ready to use those on that one. And then I'm saving my Omega cards as well. I haven't done much with the companions yet, because again, I'm waiting for a companion that I think really could work for me. Some of the ones recently are okay, but I don't like specific game mode ones. I like ones that I can use all over the place, like an America Chavez. So I fully expect to get a bunch of really good offers. You know, in Black Friday, that was probably the best thing we've got. Anything else that I've ever said like I like is a decent offer, but it hasn't been something that's been like drop dead amazing. It's just been something like, hey, you might want to do this. It's a little bit better than usual, like the 5-star or the 5-star draws, the 3,000 crystal draws. things along those lines. Yeah, I went into. So I'm thinking that we're going to get something a lot along those lines. So I would highly recommend saving your draws, saving your crystals, because, you know, a lot of times when they have these things, right now I can use these draw tickets, but sometimes it's crystals only. So I would highly recommend maybe saving your crystals as much as you can for the next month. Or, you know, if you're a spender, then you're going to have to come down here and maybe buy some of these. My understanding too is they've upped this a little bit for the price. I don't recall offhand how much it was before, but it might have been a little bit less crystals. So they've increased these a little bit, which yay, okay. If you're a big time spender, you can come in there and do that. But I'm looking for the good offers. I think this is going to be something we're going to want to save up for. I'm hoping Netmarble really does something to get, you know, I'd say casual players more interested, people who love Marvel but aren't playing this game, that it gives them another opportunity to market the game out there. Because we all know that we've seen a lot of people leave the game. We've seen some new people come, not stay for very long. Netmarble needs to figure out a formula to get people, new players in, and keep them around a little bit, all right? Whether you're free to play, cheap to play, or a massive whale kraken, there's got to be a way that they got to keep folks engaged. I personally still like the game. I enjoy engaging with the community. I enjoy engaging with my alliance. I enjoy competing with other alliances. So hopefully Netmarble does something special for the game on the 1 year anniversary, which by the way is August 25th. So it is going to be coming up very soon. We might get a little bit of that sooner because typically they drop the patch in the second or third week of a month, which means we might get some of this stuff before the 1 year anniversary. So start looking for things more solidified in early August. I think that we're going to start leaking some information, or maybe they'll start giving us some information about coming out and sharing what we think. So let me know what you want to see, what you think I said that, you know, might be right or wrong. Tell me what you definitely think about this Savage Lands and Shadowlands combination, if that's going to be something they're going to do, especially given the last teaser we got. I think it's about time we got something there. So like I said at the front end of the video, if you want to help support the channel, we've got a join section below where you can help us support, really fully support the channel. If you want to help with those YouTube algorithms, comment below, hammer down like buttons, notification bell, subscribe, all that sort of thing. And until next time, we hope you have a wonderful day.